Hello friends, welcome to Coding First YouTube channel. In this video, we will see a program find all index. So in this program, we will have a array in which we have a element which is repeating multiple times. So what we have to do is we have to find all these indexes for that element, and we have to fill this all indexes in a array, and then we have to print that array. So we have to do this using recursion. From the last video we have learned how we can traverse in the array using recursion. So let's see how we will write this program. So first I will make a method, so public static, and you can see that this time we have to find all the index and we have to store them in the array. It means that we have to return that array in the main method. So I will use here return type as array, so int, then the method name find all index. So we will write the body of this method later. First I will call this method in the main method, so find all index. So what we have to pass in this method, first is our array, then we have to pass the starting index of the array, so it is index 0. Then what we have to pass, you can see that we have to find the index of a particular element. 10 is repeating multiple times, so we have to find its all indexes, so we also have to pass that. Then I will pass here one more value for a variable, so I will tell you later why we are passing that. And we know that this method will return as a array, so I will make here a array int all index, and after that what I will do, I will print this array. So for int I equal to 0 and I less than all index dot length and I plus plus. So here we are only printing the array elements. So this is all what we have to write in the main method. Now we have to write the body of this method. So you can see we are passing here array, then we are passing here a index value, then we are passing a variable for which we have to find the index. So I will name that variable as val, and I am passing here a extra 0 here, so I will name this variable as size. So now we will write the statements in this method. So first we have to check that at which index we are getting this element 10. I will write if statement here, if a of index is equal to val. So if at any index we are getting this element 10, so that time I will increment this size variable. So and after that we will call this method again, so find all index, and here we are passing the array and we are incrementing the array index, so index plus 1, and rest will remain as it is, val and the size variable. So you can see that when we are calling this method again, we only have to increment the index variable because we have to traverse in the array from index 0 to last index, and we know that this method will return as a array. So I will make a array here, so int index is equal to, then what I will do is I will copy this if statement, and in this if statement I will write some lines, indexes of size minus 1 equal to index, and in the last we will return this indexes array. And you know that we also have to make a base case here, so if index equal to a dot length, so you can see that we have to return a array. So what I will do is I will make a array here int indexes, and what is the size of this array. So you can see that in this method we are using a if statement to check that at how many index we have this val element, and we were incrementing the size variable. So this size variable we will use to declare the size of the array, and in which we are passing this size variable, and after that we will return this indexes array. So that's all we have to do in this program. So now let's run this program. So you can see that in the output we are getting 0, 3 and 6. So in the array we have 10 at index 0, 3 and at index 6. So this program is working fine. Let's see how this program is working. So you can see that in the program we have a array in which we have 7 elements, and there is a element 10 which is repeating multiple times, and we have to find all the index of 10 and fill it in a array, and then we have to return that array and print it. So in the main method what we are doing is we are just calling this method, and here we are passing these values. So in the stack memory this method will get memory, so we are passing these 4 values array. So you can see that I have written here this variable names. So you can see that when we are calling this method for the first time, so in the stack we will get this array, then index is 0 and the val is 10 and the size is also 0. Then we will go in this method. You know that first we have to write line numbers to easily understand this program. So this if statement is a line number 1, then this is line number 2, and this next if statement it is line number 3, and this return statement is line number 4. And we know that this if statement is the base case, and for this we do not have to write any line number. So you can see that when index is 0, what will happen? This if statement is not going to execute, right? So in the next if statement it will check that if a of index is equal to val. So at index is 0 we have 10, yes, and it is equal to val because val is also 10. So this if condition is right, so then it will increment this size variable. So this size variable will become 1. So now this size variable is 1. So this line number 1 has been executed. Then this line number 2 will execute. So when this line number 2 will execute, it will call this method again, and in the stack this method will get memory again, in which we are passing this array and the next index 1, and val will remain as it is 10, and size will also remain as it is 1. Now you can see here when index is 1, this if statement is not going to execute, then it will check this if statement if array of index equal to val. So you can see that at index 1 we have element 20. So element 20 is not equal to val, right? So this if statement is not going to execute, then this line number 2 will execute. So when this line number 2 will execute, this method will call itself again and it will increment the index. Then in the top of the stack this method will get memory again, and here now index is 2, val is same 10, and size is also same 1. So now you can see here when index is 2, this if statement will check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see that at index 2 element is 30. So this if statement is false and it will not execute, then this line number 2 will execute. So when this line number 2 will execute, so this method will get memory again in the top of the stack, in which we are passing this array and index will increment, so it will become 3, and val and size will remain as it is. Now you can see when index is 3, this if statement will not execute, and in this if statement we will check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see here, yes, at index 3 element is 10, which is equal to val. So we will increment this size variable, so then this size variable will become 2. So you can see line number 1 has been executed, then this line number 2 will execute, then this method will call itself. So in the top of the stack this method will get memory again. So here we are passing this array and next index which is 4, then val will remain 10 and size is 2. So when index is 4, this if statement will again check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see here at index 4 element is 40. So this if statement is false and it will not execute, then this line number 2 will execute and it will call this method again. So in the top of the stack now this method will get memory again, and this time index will become 5 and val and size will remain as it is. So when index is 5, so this if statement is not going to execute, this if statement will check that if array of index equal to val. So at index 5 element is 50. So this if condition is false and it will not execute, then this line number 2 will execute. So then this method will call itself. So now in the stack memory this method will get memory again, in which we are passing array and index 6, val will remain 10 and size is 2. So when index is 6, this if statement will not execute, and in this if statement we will check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see that at index 6 element is 10, right? So this if condition is true, so then we will increment this size variable. So now size will become 3. So you can see line number 1 has been executed, then this line number 2 will execute. So then this method will call itself, and here we are passing this array 7 and val and size will remain as it is. Now you can see here when index is 7, in this if statement we will check that if index is equal to array dot length. So you can see yes, index is 7 and array dot length is also 7. So this if statement will execute. So what will happen now? So you can see in the size variable we has 3, so it will make a new array of size 3 and it will return this array. So you can see that this is our array whose size is 3. So you can see that this method it will return this array, then this method will get removed from the stack. Then we will reach in the method where index was 6. So you can see that time in this method line number 1 and 2 was only executed, and this rest of the lines remain. So now this line number 3 will execute. So it will check that if array of index is equal to val. So you can see that yes, in the index 6 we have 10. So what we are doing now, we are filling these indexes in the array. So in the starting we were going upside, we are just making the size for this array by checking that at which index we have this element, and now when we are returning back, now we are filling these indexes in this declared array. So now you can see that this if statement is true, so what will happen? So index is of size -1. So we know that size is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So at index 2 in this indexes array, we are storing the current index. So current index is 6. So now in this indexes array, we will get 6 at index 2. So you can see this line number 3 has been executed, and after that this line number 4 will execute, and this method where index is 6, it will return this array to its parent method, and its parent method is this method where index is 5, because this method was calling this method for index 6, and after returning this array, this method will get removed from the stack. So after that you can see that in the method where index was 5, now here it will check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see that at index 5 we do not have 10. So because of that this if statement will not execute. In this method only line number 4 will execute, and it will return this array to the method where index is 4. So because of that this method will get removed from the stack. So now we are in the method where index is 4. So now you can see that it will check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see at index 4 element is 40. So this if statement is not going to execute, and it will also return this index array as it is to this method where index is 3. So you can see that this line number 4 has been executed, and then this method will get removed from the stack. So now we are in the method where index is 3, and now it will check that if array of index equal to val. So you can see at index 3 we have 10. Yes. So now we will store this index in the index array. So you can see that in this method we have size equal to 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1, and in the 1 we will store the current index which is 3. So at index 1 we will get 3 in this index array. So line number 3 has been executed, then this line number 4 will execute, and it will return this array to the method where index is 2, and then this method will get removed from the stack. So now we are in the method where index is 2. Again in this if statement it will check if array of index equal to val. So you can see that at index 2 we have element 30 which is not equal to 10. So this if statement is not going to execute, and it will return this index array as it is. So line number 4 will execute, and it will return this index array to this method where index is 1, and then this method will remove from the stack. So now we are in the method where index is 1. So it will check here if array of index equal to val. So you can see at index 1 element is 20, so it is not equal to 10. So this if statement is not going to execute, and it will return this index array as it is. So line number 4 will execute, and then this method will get removed from the stack. So now you can see we are in the method where index is 0. Now it will check that if array of index equal to val. So yes, at index 0 we have 10. So this if condition is true, and then we will store this index in the indexes array. So you can see that here size value is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So at index 0 in the indexes array we will store this index which is 0. So now we have 3 indexes in this index array. So this line number 3 has been executed, and this line number 4 will also execute. So then this method will return this array to its parent method. So we know that for this method, parent method is the main method, because parent method was calling this method for index 0. So then we will get this indexes array in the main method, and after that we are just printing the elements of the array, and in the output we will get these values 0, 3 and 6. So this is how this program is working. Thanks for watching.